Hi everyone, and welcome to The Buff Life. Thank you so much for watching my channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. While you're here, don't forget to click that subscribe button. So today I'm talking to you about my transplant journey. I've did previous videos where I talked about it, but today I'm going to talk to you because I'm now getting to the end of that journey to try and get on the list. So when you're a dialysis patient and you want to get a kidney transplant, you have to get on a waiting list for a transplant if no one living can give you a kidney. So basically that's the path that I'm on. And it requires rigorous testing. You go multiple days where you are all day long in the hospital doing multiple exams. And then what they do is once you finish all those exams, each department that you've had an exam in, they therefore let the actual transplant coordinator and the facility know that you have been cleared by them and they recommend you for a kidney transplant. So I'm at that part right now. I'm on my last exam and I've gotten good news from everything else. So this is the last one. It's going to be a mammogram. And I'm really not worried about that at all because I've been getting regular checkups. So there's nothing wrong there. So I'm going to have that done tomorrow. And then from there, hopefully, they'll call me back the same day to tell me that they are going to recommend me for transplant. Once that happens, all that information then gets turned over to the actual hospital committee. And then the hospital committee will have meetings. They have monthly meetings and they decide on whether or not they think you would be a good candidate for a kidney transplant. And once that's decided, then they'll notify you that you have been accepted, and then that's when you get placed on the kidney transplant list. So when I say journey, that's my journey to try and get to that actual list. Now, once you're on the list, it could be a 7-year wait for a kidney, but the fact that you're actually waiting for one is the most part that causes a lot of people anxiety because they're like holding their breath to see whether or not they're going to get a kidney. So I'm going to tell you and everyone else from experience, once you're on the list, you just have to just really relax and just let it happen naturally because you will drive yourself crazy trying to figure out when you're going to get your actual kidney. So right now, like I told you, I'm on the last exam, and I expect for that to go well with no problems. But right in between the last exam and you actually getting your information sent to the actual kidney committee, or should I say the hospital committee, they're going to let you know that now they're in the process of reviewing it. So that makes sure you are already up to date as to where they're at in that leg of the journey. So that's the really important part. But I'm going to tell you this, the journey to try and get on this list here in Texas has been a very, very strenuous one for me. I originally started this process back when Hurricane Harvey hit. Just before that, I had started the process. And I don't know if you've read before, but in my current videos, I've talked about it. Hurricane Harvey destroyed everything, took everything. I had literally nothing, car, everything. So when you're in that situation, you have to build everything back up from the scratch. And it's still a struggling process, so I'm currently doing that. Now, the reason why I had to stop with a lot of the actual exams and all that back then was because it requires you to come to a particular hospital. For that particular hospital, it might be 30 to 40 miles away. And if you don't have a car, which I did not have because Harvey took everything from me, it was literally impossible. And there were also a lot of places that were still flooded underwater, and it was very difficult to get any services. It was a nightmare. So I had to kind of wade through all that to finally get to a point where I can actually start going to these appointments. So we did that. So now, like I said, I'm back on track and everything's going pretty good so far. Last exam, and I'm so excited about that. You just don't know because it's a very hard situation living with dialysis and trying to make sure that you stay in within the guidelines of what they've told you that you need to do, because with dialysis, they put you on a very certain diet. You can only eat certain things, and it's a very, very bland diet. And don't get me wrong, they're doing the best thing that they can to try and help you out and have an easier way of dealing with dialysis. But it's also very, very restricting. And you also have a fluid restriction. You might actually see me during some of these videos where I'm like doing that because my mouth is dry. Now, I'll take a sip or something, but I literally have to watch everything I drink. So, like, you might go out and buy you a 32-ounce Big Gulp or something like that, or something to drink. That is something I have to really sit down and think about. Is what I'm going to drink right now, is it what I want to really drink? Because I'm not going to have room to put anything else in there to supplement that. Because what happens is, because dialysis patients don't have the ability to get rid of that excess fluid that they're taking in, it just sits on you. So your face gets really puffy. Sometimes you'll see me with a little puffier face, and that has a lot to do with fluid intake, and sometimes it has to do with medication that they give you while you're on dialysis. So it'll make you feel really, like my face gets bloated, but I don't swell usually anywhere else. I just get a really puffy face, and of course your abdomen area, it gets a little bit bigger. But that fluid sits there until you go to dialysis, and then dialysis will pull that fluid and other toxins off your body. So you might go to dialysis looking one way and come back looking a totally different way. It's a total transformation. So, like I said, you have to abide by those guidelines. It's what's telling you what you can and cannot have, and it's a very hard way. And I'll tell you, it's hard for me because I am a very picky eater to begin with, and then the foods that they want me to eat, like plain rice. If you have a hamburger, it's a plain hamburger. I don't even eat beef anymore. I'm giving that up completely because it just does not sit well with me at all. But it's like watching that, and don't dare go into the hospital while you're on dialysis. Oh, you're talking about restrictions. Oh, they're going to give you little tiny cups of juice, and they're counting that juice, and you might be extremely thirsty, and they're giving this little bit of juice that you can take 2 gulps and it's gone, and they're watching that. So because they need to make sure they monitor your fluid intake. And then don't ask for a salad, because a salad will consist of a few pieces of lettuce, a little thin piece of onion, and 1 cucumber, and that's what they consider a salad. So it's like you're starving while you're in there, and you just feel like so horrible. They don't, they're not really there to get you the best meals either, and hospitals have some horrible food. So you can imagine what you get when you're in hospital. So you want to try to avoid going into the hospital completely by abiding by those rules. Which that means cutting out French fries. I don't cut them out, but I reduce what I take. I'm not a person who eats French fries every day. I might have some once every 2 weeks, but that's it. So you have to watch that. You can't drink a lot of milk or anything like that, or bananas. It's just a list of things you can't have. So that road to the whole process of getting the transplant, you have to kind of watch everything that you're doing so that you have good results. So with anything that you do, you have to make sure you stay within guidelines to make sure that you have the best result. So as of tomorrow, after I have the mammogram, I'll get back on and tell you guys if they give me updated information the same day, I'll make a video telling you guys what they said. If they don't, on my next video, I will let you know what they have decided, and possibly let you know if I've been put on the kidney transplant list. Now, if you've ever thought about giving someone a kidney, let me just advise you of this. If you have questions and doubts and you're scared about it, there's a good thing to do is go on Google. You can literally Google donating a kidney donating a kidney, not transplant, just donating a kidney. And when you go on there, it's going to take you directly to the site where you can ask any question you want, and there will be other people on there who's asked questions. And it's basically, you can see their answers, and then if you say, hey, I think I might want to do it, you can actually fill in your information. It's strictly anonymous. They will not tell anyone else that you're doing it. And then you'll get a call from a representative who will go over the things with you and ask you how you feel and talk to you about it. So if you're interested in doing that, I strongly advise you to do it, because most people that are waiting for these kidneys, I mean, you can't really survive a long time on dialysis. It's really not a good process. It's like having chemotherapy your entire life. No one wants to go through that. You have to experience so many side effects, like dry, itchy, flaky skin. If you in certain times it's you're okay. Sometimes you're extremely cold. Other times you're fine. It's like so many things you have to go through just to be on dialysis, because it's not meant for you to live your whole life on dialysis. It's meant for you to keep you alive until you get a transplant. Now, the difference between a living donor and a deceased donor, of course, a deceased person is dead, but their kidney being transplanted into a living person, this is how it works. So say someone passes on and they donate their organs, and so what happens is they'll take that kidney and they'll contact a person who matches up with that and say, hey, I have a kidney for you if you want to accept it. Now, you do have the choice to deny that kidney or accept it. If If you accept the kidney, then what they do is they give you a limited amount of hours to get to the hospital so that kidney can be transplanted into you. Now, the reason they do that is because they don't want to keep that kidney on ice. The longer you keep that kidney on ice, it stands the less chance of it working right. So they want to get you in there and get that kidney into you immediately. And sometimes the kidney may not start working as soon as they connect it, but other times it does. And that's a good sign. Sometimes people get transplants and then they still have to go to dialysis a couple of days to get that kidney kind of up and running. It's a lot like a laptop. If you shut your laptop completely off and down, when you put it back on, you kind of have to wait for it to get back onto the way you had it. So that's the way the kidney kind of works. Now with a living donor, it's a totally different thing. With a living donor, once you've gone in and done all the testing and they determine that you are a good match for this person, or not a good match, but maybe a match for someone else, they can do an exchange program called the Unix program. And basically what they do is they exchange your kidney that you're giving with someone else's giving of the kidney. So it may match your donor that you really want to give to, and your kidney may match another donor. That way, both parties will get a kidney. That's basically the way it works. And with a living donor, when you go in to do the kidney transplant, they literally have you side by side. So it's the living donor here and then yourself who's receiving the transplant. And they basically take the kidney from the living donor directly into the actual patient. That way there's no downtime and there's less chance of that kidney malfunctioning and not working. And that's the best way to do it. In fact, living donors giving kidneys, the patient that get the kidneys have a longer lasting period with that kidney, as opposed to like a deceased donor. Sometimes those kidneys don't last. In fact, it's the truth. They don't last a very long time. Their lifespan in comparison would be, let's say, a living donor kidney might last 19 years, while a deceased donor kidney might last 6. So you stand a better chance with a living donor, and it's always a good thing if you can get that. But if you can't, then you have to be like me, go on a transplant list and wait to get the kidney. And that's something that you just have to do. But there are over 30 million people in the world affected by kidney disease, and it is a rapidly growing disease. It's an epidemic, and I've done papers on this for school and everything, and it's just amazing to me that we have all these programs out there telling you, like, don't smoke, don't drink, excess drug use, but they don't talk about things like this. You know how I found out about kidneys and all about how it works is when it happened to me. I was totally blown by, surprise on that, and I hate for anybody else to go through what I went through. So I'm telling you, if you think in just the slightest bit that you may have a kidney problem, definitely see your doctor about that, because it can make the difference between living without having to go on dialysis and living and being on dialysis, and that is a nightmare. So, like I said, on that road to transplant, hoping to get on that list, and like I said, I will share every bit of that with you. One other thing I wanted to mention to you guys is that sometimes, you look at a situation such as the kidney transplant, and you think, why should I give them a kidney? The question is that it's not really why should you give them a kidney. The question is life, human life. Everybody has a chance in life to try to make the best of it, but some people are dealt hands that they had no control over. In my situation, I was born with abnormally small kidneys that did not grow with me as I got older, so I had no control over it. Now I understand some people's views like, oh, well, I'm not giving that person a kidney. What did they do to make that kidney bad? Well, some of us did nothing. But does that make us any better than people who did? People make mistakes. People grow from there. But who are we to stand in judgment and say that person doesn't deserve life and a chance to grow and be a better person and do something maybe they didn't have the ability to do before? And I want you to think about another thing. That could be any one of your family members. It does not discriminate. It will hit little kids. It will hit adults. It hits the elderly. And it is not a good feeling to sit there and watch someone die. If you have the ability to do that, you're a very cold-hearted person, because it's a very hard thing to do. And if there's something that you can do, you want to help people, then do that. It's not going to make you less of a person. You're going to be the same person. In fact, when you give one of your kidneys to someone else, your own kidney will grow to the size of 2. The kidney has the ability to regenerate itself when it's not disease-ridden. So before you even donate your kidney, the doctors are going to make sure you're absolutely 100% healthy, mentally and physically, because they want to make sure that they're taking it from the person who can do this without problems in the future and has a good state of mind. Because the last thing you want to do is have someone donate a kidney, and then 20 days later they're like, I made a mistake and I don't want to do this. I wasn't in my right mind. So that's why they want to make sure you know what you're getting into, and they want to tell you what to expect, what not to expect, and they take really good care of people who donate kidneys to others because you are a life source. So they're going to treat you very well. And you also, if you are a person who wants to donate a kidney to someone and you live out of their state, they will cover the cost of you coming to that state and getting transplanted, have that kidney transplanted to someone else. They will cover that. There are places they will house you to make sure that you're okay and make sure that you get back home safely. So, like I said, if you're thinking about it, I think the best thing to do is either talk to the person that you're thinking about giving the kidney to, or anonymously you can go online and all you need to type in is donating a kidney. That's all you have to type in. As soon as you do that, there will be several links coming up to a actual website that will take you to all the information that you need to know, and it will give you the ability to put your information in there for someone to contact you and have a one-on-one conversation with you about it. It's totally anonymous, so no one's going to know that you did it unless you tell them that you did it. And then if there's something that you want to proceed along with, they don't bug you or hound you. They'll let you know. They'll tell you, hey, when you're ready, if you're ready, call us and we'll get everything set for you. So it's a very easy process as far as that's concerned, and I just implore all of you, if you have the ability to save a life, then definitely save a life. So if there's any questions that you guys have about what I've discussed with you today, feel more than welcome, feel more than welcome to ask me the questions that you like, and comment below if you want to talk about something that you may be actually experiencing kidney failure. If you have questions about what my signs and my symptoms are, I'll be happy to discuss that with you. But for the time being, I'm going to bid you all goodbye, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And thanks so much for watching. Do not, absolutely do not, come in closer, come in closer, come in closer. Do not forget to click subscribe so that you can be on the alert for my next video. Thanks so much for tuning into The Buff Life. Have a wonderful day. Bye.